Welcome to Math on Wednesday. Are you ready for some drills? Okay, let's stand up and get ready to exercise. We are going to skip count by twos with our evens, and then we're going to skip count by twos with our odds. We're going to count all the way up to 100. I will start counting with you, but along the way, I am going to be quiet, but you're going to continue. So with our evens, we're going to run in one spot, okay? And then for our odds, we're going to do low kicks. They're not high kicks, just low kicks like this. And we're going to count with our odds. But first, our evens. Here we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 26, 28, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 100. Good. If you went a little bit faster than I did, that's okay, as long as you got all of your evens from 0 to 100. Okay, now with our odds, I'm going to have you kick low kicks. Okay, so every kick we do, you're going to count with your odds. I might give you some prompts. Okay, I'm going to be using my fingers to give you some prompts. So keep watch. Here we go. Ready? All right. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, 81, 91, and 101. That one was a little tricky. I got a little confused. I couldn't keep up with my fingers and my kicks. All right, boys and girls, you can take a seat. That was our exercise for today and our drills. It is important to skip count and for us to know what our odds are, what our evens are, how to skip count by twos, by threes, and soon enough, we're going to learn when you get to the next level math, how to skip count by threes and fours and fives. And there's going to be songs that we're going to be teaching you. All right, boys and girls, we are going to continue doing what we have been these past few weeks, and that is our practice section. We're going to go to the back of the book to warm up practice 7. And we did this on Monday. You did this on Tuesday, and we're doing this one today. So please turn to that page and press pause so you can begin, and when you're finished, you can press play again. Okay, so you have probably finished that section already, and we are now going to start our lesson for today, and we are still on fractions. So could you remind me, what is a fraction? How could we describe a fraction? If you said fractions are part of a whole, you are correct. When we have a whole and then we divide that whole into different parts, all these parts are fractions. of the whole, parts of the whole. Today, what we're going to be working on is how many fractions of whatever kind do we need to make a whole. So for example, if I look at my chart and if I see 2 halves here and I ask the question, how many halves do we need to make a whole? We look at our fraction chart. How many halves are here? 2. So the answer would be 2 halves make a whole. So if I only had 1 half, what do I need to make a whole? I would need another half. So 2 halves make a whole. So today, that's what we're going to be working on and practicing. How many of each fractions do we need to make a whole? So if you have your fraction pieces with you right now, get them ready because we're going to be using them. If you don't have them, you can go and get them, press pause, and go look for those fraction pieces. Now, if you don't have those fraction pieces, that's okay. If you have a fraction chart, that will work just fine, or you could also just look at mine. But if you do have those fraction pieces, it's going to be an easy way for you to practice grabbing all those different fractions to see how many of those you need to make a whole. Okay, so here we go. So here is my fraction chart. If I were to ask you, let me see. If I want to divide my whole into fourths, how many fourths do I need to make a whole? So what I would like for you to do is grab your fraction pieces, fourths. How many fourths do you need to make a whole? So go ahead and lay that out on the desk, or you can color it in your on your fraction chart. Okay, so we want to know how many fourths make a whole. Okay, so if you have your whole and if you put down the 4 pieces of your fraction, your fourths, that means that we need 4 fourths to make a whole. Now, I am going to take 2 of those fourths off. I'm going to erase that. And if you have your fraction pieces, take out 2 of those fourths away, put them aside. Now you only have 2 fourths. Now, if you have 2 fourths, how many more fourths do you need to make a whole? You have 2 fourths, but how many do you need to make a whole? I would need 2 more fourths to make a whole. So, in whether to make a whole with fourths, I had 2 fourths, and I needed 2 more fourths to make a whole. So if I do 2 plus 2, I get 4 fourths. So I need 4 fourths to make a whole. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to match however many fractions we need to make a whole, okay? So I'm going to tell you how many fractions I have, and you are going to tell me how many more of those same fractions I need to make a whole. So I'm going to go here where it says 6. So I have 2 6ths. Is that a whole? No. 2 6ths does not make a whole. So if I have 2 6ths, so grab 2 2/6 of your fraction pieces and put them under your big whole piece. How many more 6 do you need to make a whole? So you have 2/6. How many more 6 do you need to make a whole? I'll let you think about that, and I'll let you figure that out with your fraction pieces, and then I'll tell you my answer. So I have 2/6. How many more do I need to make a whole? Well, let's look over here. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I need 4/6 to make a whole, because 2/6 plus another 4/6 gives me 6/6. And this 6/6 is the same as a whole. Okay? Let's try another one. I'm going to erase my fraction chart. What if you grab 3/5? So look at your fraction pieces or your fraction chart and grab 3/5. And I'm just going to highlight them on my fraction chart. 3/5. Are you ready? Here are my 3 pieces of my fraction chart. I have 3/5. Now the question is, how many more 5ths do you need to make a whole? How many more do you need to make a whole? So we have 3/5. And how does 3/5 look like? 3/5 look like that. And how many more do I need to make a whole? Let's look at our chart. Well, I need how many more? Did you say 2? That's right. I need 2 more 5ths to make a whole. And if I add 3 plus 2, I get 5 5/5. 5/5 is the same as 1 whole because I have 5 of the 5 parts. So 5 out of the 5 parts, I have my whole. Let's do one more. What if you had 3/9? So if you have your fraction pieces, grab 3/9 and you can set them below your whole. 3/9. How could we write 3/9 in a fraction, in a non-unit fraction form? You ready? 3/9 looks like that because there are 3/9. Now the question is, you know what question I'm going to ask? How many more 9ths do I need to make a whole? I'll let you think about that. Look at my chart, look at your fraction pieces, and tell me how many more 9ths do you need to make a whole? How many more? I'm going to write it on the board and see if you got the same answer. Did you say 6/9? And if you did, really good. If you didn't, that's okay. Go back and look at your fraction pieces and make sure you started with 3/9 and then try to fit more ninths on your whole piece. And how many fit in there? 6 ninths. So if I do 3 ninths plus 6 ninths, what do I get? I get 9 ninths. And when I have 9 ninths, it is the same thing as a whole. Okay, very good, boys and girls. That is how we join our fractions into making a whole. Now, one question. Why is it that I need 10 tens to make a whole and I only need 3/3 to make a whole? Do you know why? I need 10 tens to make a whole, but only 3/3 to make a whole. Why do you think that is? If you said that the pieces or the fractions are getting smaller and smaller, that is correct. 1/10 is way, way, way smaller than 1/3. So we need more of the 1/10ths to make a whole. But since the third is a little bit bigger, we only need 3 to make a whole. All right, now we're going to practice on our workbook. You are going to turn to page 86, 8, 10, 6, and it's the same worksheet we were working on Monday. The only difference is that today we're going to work on the bottom section. So this bottom section, and what we need to do is we need to match the fractions that will equal to 1. So just what we were doing on the fraction chart, we're going to do on our workbook. So if you need more time to look for the page, hit pause and then press play and we will begin. So here, the first fraction that I have is 2/4. I have 2/4. I'm going to show you 2 different ways. I'm going to show you on this board and then on my fraction chart. Okay, so 2/4. I have 2/4. Now the question is, how many more fourths do I need to make a whole? How many more fourths do I need to make a whole? Well, I need 1, 2. I need 2 more fourths to make a whole. So 2/4 plus 2/4 will give me 4/4. Is 4/4 the same as a whole? Yes, it is. So we need 2/4 to add to this 2/4, and that will give us a whole. So let's go back to our workbook. So here it tells us 2/4. So we need to go on this other side and look for what we need. And what was it that we need? 2/4. Oh, there it is. So now you're going to match those two together because 2/4 and another 2/4 make a whole. Now I would like for you to do the rest of these by yourself, okay? I know you can do it. You can use your fraction pieces to figure it out. If you have a fraction chart, you could use that as well. But I would like for you to try very hard to do this on your own. We are just combining and matching the fractions that make a whole. So you're going to do the next one, 2/10. Okay, so think about it. How many more tenths do you need to make a whole? And you're going to finish all of that until you reach to 5/10. So do those matching. All right, boys and girls, you're doing a great job with fractions, with unit fraction, non-unit fractions, and how to make those wholes. Remember, fractions are just parts of a whole. That's all they are. Fractions are parts of the whole. All right, boys and girls, that is our math for Wednesday. Have a wonderful day.